Does ELO rating even matter? I decided to put it to the test today. I played a match against fellow YouTuber Jackson Horn. I'll put his video and channel in the description below. There's about a 600 point rating difference between us, and so I decided to see what happens. Let's get rid of the evaluation, the lines, the feedback, and I want to just zoom through this match. Something I've recently enjoyed doing is like just going through a match really quick, just to see the dynamics of the game. It's actually really cool. Like, I've never really been in this position before. I mean, even after like 8 moves, completely new to me. So it's not like all theory. One of the most beautiful things about chess to me is like there's so many new things to learn. And slowly but surely there is mate in the corner. That's great and all. But let's go back to the start. And let's throw on the evaluation and some feedback and lines and see what we have. We enter the Italian game, something that like happens at my level, I would say like 30% of the time. I decide to stop the bishop from coming. He develops the queen. Let's go for the trade. Let's do it. Get another piece off the board. I'm feeling comfortable. As you can see, the evaluation it's even. It's even after 8 moves, which is something I have to commend Jackson for. The amount of times at my level, within 8 moves, either I myself or my opponent has given up a free piece, a minor piece, a rook, it's off the charts. It's insane. He didn't want the queen trade. Little tear shed. Like, honestly, I was really hoping he would trade the queen. I could develop the knight and then castle. Right? You might say, "Oh my gosh, isn't that pawn hanging?" Yeah, it is. I just didn't care about it. I didn't want to take the pawn. I didn't want Jackson to then attack my knight. I didn't want to have to retreat. Like, time. Rather, I'm going to start developing my pieces. Right. How did I reach out to Jackson? Well, first of all, I watched him play against Nelson of Chess Vibes. We are both Chess Vibes alumni, so to speak. A part of his series playing against different ELO classes. And so I reached out to him after watching his video. And it's funny enough because I actually learned about this technique from Nelson during Jackson's video. Whereas I almost never, it's either knight to f6, knight to c3. That's usually what happens, right? But throwing in an e7 and then to g6, it's interesting. So I decided to play it during the match. Right now, he offers a trade, and I take it. I do want to double up the pawns. There are some risks to that. This is the first interesting moment in the game. Jackson decides to take with the c pawn. The best move is actually to take with the a pawn. You open up the file, and now you're putting a lot of pressure on the a pawn and just on this side of the board in general. And I have to mention also, and Jackson talks about this, which a video you should definitely watch on his channel. During the match, he was like, I really don't want him to castle. And I really wanted to castle queenside. But I was unable to because of this queen being there. Gotta give props to that. But okay. So, what happens? Goes here. I wanted to stop any chance of this knight moving. I didn't want it to move at all. I wanted to be powerless in some sense, so I decided to push. And still, after 13 moves, the evaluation's even. Like, so that's props. Still even. There, I complete the plan. Decides to add a defender to that pawn. I'm assuming he's going to start pushing. Castle, because I want to have a safe king. So the only thing that matters in chess is a safe king. And this moment in the game is where it all changes. Jackson gave me a free pawn. He just gave it to me. And during his broadcast of the match, right, when he's recording the match, he immediately regrets it. Because he just gives up the pawn, and now I'm attacking the knight. The knight has to retreat. You know, I'm making an inaccuracy. There are a lot of other options I could have gone. I believe it wanted a rook move. Yeah, I wanted to add an attacker to this file. Didn't see that. So I pushed a pawn. Why not? This is another turning point in the game, and I did not spot this, but it's one of the reasons I love game review. Is I could have gone here. I could have threatened the knight and this pawn. Two pieces at once. We call that a fork. I could have forked it up, y'all, but I didn't see it during the match. Instead, I offered yet another queen trade. So you have to ask yourself, is a trade beneficial to me? Is the trade beneficial to me? Always ask yourself that question. Jackson was asking himself that question on the other side, and he thought it was. My reasoning was I thought that having an open file fairly close to the opposing king would be beneficial. Get to a more active position. This is another reason I love game review. Is during the match I saw this pawn and I was scared. I was like, I don't want to lose a pawn. When in reality, the best move is actually activating the king. Activating the king. Getting it closer to the action as, you know, trying to get closer to the endgame. I didn't do that. Again, I swung the rook over. I wanted to attack that knight. I didn't like the knight there. Now I will trade. I'm confident. This is another inaccuracy for me. It wanted another king move, right? It wants me to get a more active king. My whole reason behind this was this rook is basically stuck there. It's not going to move here. It's not going to move anywhere else, right? It could go back, but let's say it doesn't. My next move, I might want to attack here and get a nasty pawn on f3. I don't want any of that. Jackson lets me undouble up my pawns, and I got a really nice structure. That doesn't scare me. I'm going to add an attacker. And here we go. These pawns are going to march to promotion. They are passed pawns. Now I'm threatening the pawn on a3. It moves. I'm still going to go there, and there's no way that Jackson can defend the pawn. He wanted to start messing with me on the back rank. Come on, bro. That's rude. You're coming into my house, threatening me on my back rank. Sheesh. And he does that. And so my whole goal was to start marching the pawns. He can take that with check. You know, he can try to take that pawn. I'm going to block. He can take that pawn. I'm going to keep pushing. And time is of the essence. There is nothing that he can do now to save the match. He allows me to give a check. I will be able to promote. And mate is coming. fairly soon. In the corner. I mean, if you made it this far in the video, was that not a pretty sweet game? That's like one of my most memorable games. Because this guy named Jackson, who boxes and reads and runs ultra marathons, had me sweating up a storm, right? And there's a like 600 point ELO rating difference between us. And for like 16 moves of the game, I was really thinking, oh my gosh, is this little pawn move going to affect me? Like, this is a really even position. And I knew it was an even position. I really felt it. The only thing I can really say for him to improve his game at the moment is to better understand trades. That's about it. That's all I have to say, and the importance of understanding what trade will put you in a better position. And of course, he regretted the pawn move during the match. In some sense, I think he actually won the queen trade. I don't think opening that file did anything to me. He could have opened up the A file. That was a possibility. Offering the bishop trade so early in the game, even though I accepted it, you want to hold on to your more powerful pieces for as long as you can. So maybe holding off, and that's something that I, at my level, am still dealing with. I still find myself trading pieces all the time when I don't have to. I can retreat. I can reassemble my squadron to put myself in a better position to get into an endgame, rather than just trade pieces off and get to the endgame as quick as possible. Because you want to make sure you're in the best position possible. Super excited to watch Jackson's chess journey. I mean, he's only been playing for, I believe, 6 months is what he told me this morning. I think that is some awesome progress. He's got the logical thinking skills. Can't wait to see Jackson's progress down the line. And I can't wait to do some rematches. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video enough to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, have a great day. And also, if you want to play some matches, you know where to put some comments below.